What is going on? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today I got a treat for you. I got 𝗪𝗚𝗧𝗛, the AKA Inside Lucid Insider with me. We're going to be talking everything about Lucid. We're going to be talking about potential future catalysts, where things might go, especially based on the economy and how things are, Fed's increasing the rates. So we're going to be talking it all. A little bit more of an open forum, but Barry, I appreciate you popping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
On a side note, make sure you do subscribe or follow to Lucid Insider. Link is in the description below for to Twitter. So with that said, so Barry, what do you see Lucid going through? Like, especially, I guess, starting out as the economy, interest rates going up. Do you think that's going to really negatively affect reservations? Do you think that's going to affect Lucid in general?
I assume so. I mean, I think it affects everybody. I mean, on what scale? That's the big question. So it's hard to know. I'm not like a analyst in terms of financial analyst, but I do see some people in the forums and on like social media saying my position has changed, so I'm looking to maybe like flip the car after I get it because I maybe can't financially afford it now. Because once you reserve the car, you could you get your money back. There's like a $1,000 reservation fee for the Grand Touring and Touring line, and a $300 reservation fee for the Pure line. But those who are expecting to get their Grand Touring soon or be able to confirm it, once you confirm that $1,000 is locked up, and then either you buy it for the 140, 150, or you don't. And a lot of these people, or some of these people that are mentioning this, is I guess their financial positions have changed. So either they're not going to go through with the order, although I haven't seen many cancellations. So it's hard to know. Obviously, Lucid's not talking about these numbers publicly. But I do see once in a while somebody be like, oh, I got a car earlier than I expected to because somebody else canceled and I was able to pick up their cancellation.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, I think those numbers might never be public ever because I guess there's going to be the next Q2 is going to incorporate now the new leasing, which in theory should bring in a whole new rush of individuals very wanting to get into Lucid. And not only that, Europe's going to be included in that as well. So I think those numbers, you're right. Probably in theory, there's a good percentage that now cannot afford it. But I think overall, hopefully we should see an increase in reservations, and they seem to be increasing on the actual production as well. I think that's one of the biggest things that we all know is the lacking for Lucid. So in comparison, I've been doing, I just did a video as well on like Elon. What's your take on Elon? Do you think him coming out about saying that Lucid is going to go bankrupt, do you think that's a feasible thing for Lucid?
I can't imagine that's feasible. I think Bank of America just gave them some type of crazy line, and they have so much funding from Saudi Arabia and those investment firms. I don't think they're going. I don't think they're close to that at all. Again, I'm no analyst and stuff like that, but that seems far fetched. And the way he talks, somebody like Elon talks, people just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, he's so involved in so many things. He's a genius beyond everything, but he's, Tesla almost went bankrupt a few times. So I think Lucid's okay in a financial perspective, especially comparing where Tesla was at their stage versus where Lucid is at their current stage. So I don't think they have to worry. I think they have plenty of cash flow. The question is, again, are they going to be able to step up production, delivery? That recall really, I think, set things back at least 6 weeks. I mean, that's my guess based on, again, looking at the numbers of who's expecting to get their cars, when they're expecting to get it. There's a whole forum online that people are posting. They could, when they reserved, when they confirmed their order, and when they actually got their, production numbers. I mean, their VIN assignment, which is when Lucid starts producing the car, and then when they get delivery, and everything just like shut down for like a month or so when that recall happened because they weren't legally allowed to like deliver
Yeah.
cars when there's an open recall. So the question is, how fast can they, pace back up? And over the past couple of weeks, they've been, delivering cars and assigning VINs, and they've actually stepped up their what they call, PDI, their pre-delivery inspection, drastically, so that the cars come to get delivered to the customer in a much more polished and higher quality level. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm still super eager to get my car. So I'm tracking these numbers and what people are posting very, very closely in these forums and in social media to see when people are getting them. But I would think, I mean, it's hard to know, but I think about probably half of the Grand Touring reservations were delivered, maybe a little less. That's my gut feeling. And I was hoping by now you would see probably closer to like 80% of those delivered. That's my concern.
Any word on when yours is coming?
So I was supposed to have it today. I mean, not today, but like anytime this in the next week or so. But that's been pushed back at least a month or two, I think. Last I heard in the past couple of weeks was I'm supposed to get it now, in about a month to 6 weeks from now. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get it till like August or September, unless I get a cancellation. Because I'm going to pay straight up cash. So if a cancellation comes out, like they need somebody quick to get it, I told them, put me on the list. So we'll see.
That's fair. Yeah, I was talking with someone else, and similarly, they were supposed to get it mid-May, and that got pushed back, and I think got pushed back again. But still, one thing I really like, I like seeing your kind of articles from Lucid Insider. Like, you clearly get a good perception, and you like to give the good, the bad, and the ugly of everything that's out there for Lucid, which I personally appreciate, and I hopefully a lot of people do as well. What's your sentiment? What's kind of are you getting behind the scenes? Where, like, because you clearly do a lot of research, you talk to a lot of people, and you kind of get that mentality. Where do you think what's the sentiment that you're kind of getting from customers?
Right. So overall, like at least the places that I'm following and the people posting on social media and on the forums are really they're early adopters. They're like huge fans. So for the most part, everybody's super excited about the car. They're willing to deal with the software glitches and the hiccups of a new car that you would expect. There are some people who are like, wow, I spent on the Dream Edition 180 grand, or I spent 140 on the Grand Touring, and it doesn't have this feature, doesn't have that feature yet, or this was built improperly or whatever. I'm expecting a perfect car from a luxury automaker, but they're a new company, and that's the exciting part about getting into a Lucid is that anybody who's buying a Lucid knows it's like the latest, greatest, brand new company, brand new tech, brand new drive. And I think most people go in with that expectation to say, hey, this is a car that it's going to have some kinks. It's going to somewhat be beta. And personally, for me, I told my wife, I'm like, I'm looking forward to when I get locked in the car for days and I need to call customer support to like unlock the doors remotely, and then they have issues. So I love beta stuff. You can see behind me, there's like tons of like tech boxes. I have every little tech box, every little piece of technology that you can imagine. I buy it, I rarely use it. This one I'll use, obviously it'll be my main car. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm like totally expecting there to be some kinks and bugs. And I kind of like that. That's why I'm buying it. I love to be on like the latest and greatest thing. The beauty of it also is like with the Tesla, you constantly get updates to it, and to have like a new car every single time there's an update is something that I'm looking forward to. And that's the attitude for most of these customers, I believe. My writing style is more about not really covering the stock from a financial perspective, but more covering the Lucid customer experience, like how they're dealing with stuff, any issues and so forth. It's funny because like if I post something that's either neutral or negative, sometimes folks in the Lucid stock community will like kind of be upset with it because they feel like I'm trying to like downgrade the stock. Not that I can imagine anybody's actually buying or selling based on what I'm writing. It doesn't, I don't think so. But at the same time, I own the stock. I bought the stock before I started the blog, Lucid Insider. I also started the blog after I actually ordered a car. I'm like, you know what? I'm a blogger. I mean, it's one of the things I do. I don't make my money blogging, but I love blogging. People like to go play golf. People like to go fishing. I enjoy blogging. That's what I do with my hobby. And I have a very successful couple blogs, Search Engine Roundtable, Search Engine Land, where I covered Google pre-IPO, could cover them throughout the space. And I cover what is changing in Google, not from a financial perspective, but from how Google search operates, the ad system, more of like a technical like how-to on how it works and why it works and what's changing with it. And that's the same approach I want to take with the Lucid Insider, is to track what customers are saying about it, how the car is changing, what software updates are happening. I'm also covering I have to cover some of the financial stuff, but I'm really bad at it, honestly. I'm not a good financial analyst. There are people that seeking alpha. There are people who are trained in that. I'm not trained in covering on a financials perspective, but I cover it just because it needs to be covered. And there's very few sites actually covering it outside of, obviously the mainstream, news, financial website. So from what you get from Lucid Insider, more from the customer perspective and what's changing with the car and being updated.
Maybe this is why I appreciate and I like reading a lot of your blogs, because in general, like I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about as much as they should, is a customer experience. Like in general, based on how I've also talked with people who've previously owned Teslas and now converting to purchasing a Lucid, the customer experience is night and day. So I think that's one attribute that a lot of people don't talk about when they really should. So maybe that's why I like your blogs. On a side note, that's a good transition. Make sure you guys pop over and subscribe or follow him. I keep saying subscribe, but make sure you go follow him, Lucid Insider on Twitter. Very good articles, gives the up-to-date information on clearly the beta testing on various different things, updates, a lot of good things. So overall, though, just on a general consensus, I know you mentioned several times that you don't really track the stock. It's more of a long-term investment, which in reality is a good mentality to have. But are you taking advantage of these prices as of late?
Yeah, I mean, I bought it $25 around 24, 25. Then I bought it again at 18, 17, and then I bought it again at like 13, 14. I haven't purchased since then. I probably should, but I'm not like in the market constantly. I'm the type of person that just buys and just like keeps it forever. And I rarely sell anything, but I suspect, I mean, I bought Tesla early on. I think I bought it in the hundreds or 200s a long, long time ago. I bought Apple stock back when I was like a teenager, when it was during that time when Steve Jobs was kicked out. I didn't have much money, but I bought it. So I show people the percentages up, not the dollar value up, because, you know, whatever. I like to buy stuff that I personally use and I think is great. So that's why when I wanted to buy the car, I'm like, I also wanted to buy the Tesla. I just didn't because it doesn't support Apple CarPlay, and I'm an Apple fanboy, as you can see behind me. So I waited for a car EV that actually supports Apple CarPlay, and Lucid will eventually support that. So as soon as I bought, said I'm buying the car, I wanted to buy the stock as well, because I felt, if I want to buy the car, I want to buy, obviously I think the stock itself, the company itself will do well. And I think it's a lot of it about listening to the customer. I do think they do a great job of doing that. They are always listening. They try to talk a little bit less, but also act on those types of things by pushing out software updates and responding when they can. It's amazing to see them. The Lucid reps are like active on Twitter. They're active on in the different forums and so forth. So it's great to see that. And people have an amazing experience from their customer support in terms of if they have an issue, a Lucid mobile service van will drive to your house and fix it. I wonder how long they could keep that up in terms of like as the customers grow from the 500 Dream edition drivers to the 5,000 Grand Tourings. I don't know what the numbers are exactly. And then the Tourings, it's going to be thousands and thousands of customers. Hopefully, I guess they're going to have to keep scaling, and that's going to be a challenge to keep up with customer support.
Yeah, no, definitely. But with all that, I appreciate you coming on, Barry, and definitely make sure you guys go over, follow him on Lucid Insider. Very much beneficial and a lot of good up-to-date information. I appreciate you, Barry, coming on. A lot of good information, and clearly I like a lot of the points that you did bring up.
Thanks so much, and keep up the great stuff on YouTube. You're doing an amazing job.
Cool. Thanks. Like I said, I appreciate you guys coming on. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. But with all that said, thanks for watching.